What is going on, Lego Maniacs? It's Ty Lego right here, and welcome to Ty's Talks episode 7. So first off, you guys have a bunch of great questions. Yeah, we're gonna get into what's the best CMF line. I thought that was a really good question, as well as my favorite character in Star Wars, and even just other questions like what could they do better with modern Lego sets, or will they ever make more realistic Lego blasters for Star Wars minifigs? Anyways, great questions all in all. And again, as always, if you have a question for next Ty's Talks episode, leave them in the comments. And yeah, I'll get to it then. You guys have been asking awesome questions. And yeah, anyways, happy to answer them. But yeah, enough talk. Let's get right into it. And our first question comes to us from Reed. And he asks, what's your worst nightmare, Mega Bloks or Lepin? This was I thought it was funny, but this was an easy one. Mega Bloks I actually think has some potential. There's been some cool sets I've seen from Mega Bloks, whereas Lepin on the other hand, it's fake Lego. I mean, yeah, if someone were to say that they'd make my entire collection Lepin, or they'd make it Mega Bloks, I'd go with the Mega Bloks. Just Lepin quality isn't the greatest, I find, although they are getting better, but I mean, it is fake Lego, right? Anyways, good question. Let's now move on to the next. And the next question comes to us from Jawa, and he asks, what are your favorite Rebel, Imperial, and Republic starfighters? Mine is the A-Wing, TIE Interceptor, and ARC 170. Great question. So yeah, my favorite Rebel fighter is definitely the X-Wing fighter. I just love that ship. I mean, it just looks like such an interesting, well-designed fighter. Like, I love it. Then also for Imperial, I'm gonna have to go with the Imperial shuttle. I just think it's a great looking, it's not necessarily a fighter, but it's just like, it's a ship that the Imperials have. And I just really do like it. And then for Republic, that was tricky. I have to go with you with the ARC 170. I think it's a fantastic looking ship. And it's actually the predecessor to the X-Wing. If you guys look into any of the history, that and the Z95 Headhunter. And then I also really like the Venator. I really wish Lego would make a new Venator. Those are probably, yeah, those are my favorite of those classes that you mentioned. Great question. I had to think a little bit about that one. And our next question comes to us from V8H Bar, and he asks, do you think Lego will update their Star Wars blasters? Also, have you ever bought blasters from a non-Lego company? So as far as if I think they'll ever update their blasters, they actually had a lot of, they were worried about upgrading their blasters even to the blasters that we see today, not stud shooters. I'd love it if they would mod it out, but I don't know if they'll ever do that just because of the cost. Like, the Lego sets will just go up in money if they were to do that, unless they were able to mass produce it. Like, maybe they'll one day make, you know, the standard Stormtrooper blaster, just because there's a lot of different sets that they can make that custom blaster. This kind of goes into lightsabers as well. Maybe they'll make eventually Luke and Anakin's lightsaber, Rey's, which I never call it that because it isn't. Maybe they'll eventually make that, but I don't, as far as them making all these custom different blasters, like Jango Fett's custom blaster, Battle Droid's custom blaster, you know, I just would never see it happening, just because the cost of making that specific mold would be too high for the amount of sets they could actually put that mold in, if that makes any sense. And as far as if I've bought blasters from a non-Lego company, I have not done that, but I could see myself doing it. If I wanted to make a really realistic looking mock, yeah, definitely, I'd probably check that out. Anyways, hope that answers that question. That's just my thoughts on it. And our next question comes to us from Clone Commander Studio, and he asks, what's your favorite part of YouTube? So my favorite part of YouTube has to be the community. I mean, to be able to share stuff that you love with other people that love the same thing is absolutely awesome. And the idea that you can eventually like make money off of it is also great. I mean, doing what you love to do. And then also, I mean, it helps out with, you know, buying better camera equipment, buying more Lego sets, you know, to share with you guys. That's probably the community, and like being able to do what you love and like put that money into what you love that's just a great idea, and I love that. I love all the support from you guys, and yeah, the main thing is I just like sharing you know, something that I find interesting, and you guys as well find that. That's my favorite part of YouTube, probably hands down. And our next question comes to us from CT5486 Metal. And he asks, do you like Sabaton? It's a rock band if you don't know. So I didn't know who they were before, but I actually checked these guys out, and they actually have some pretty cool music. Like, they're not heavy metal or anything. They kind of remind me of like Muse, to be perfectly honest, because they're kind of theatrical. Anyways, they make songs a lot of times about like historical events, but they actually make it good. And they look like Vikings, which is, you know, that's always a positive. But anyways, yeah, I actually didn't mind them. Like, I checked them out on YouTube, and I actually do like Sabaton. I might look into them a bit more. The couple songs I listened to, I actually liked for the most part. And we have another question here from Reed, and he asks, what's the most amount of money you would pay for a fake Lego set like Lepin or Bela? So for Make It or Break It, I do buy fake Lepin sets or Bela sets just so I can compare them, then do a drop test on them, which we are working on improving the drop test. We're gonna be doing it on a table now. But anyways, the most I'd spend on a Lepin set would probably be like 20 US. You know, I can't imagine paying any more than that. If you want to try and resell them, that can be very difficult, if impossible. Like, I don't see the sense. Like, for instance, they have like the UCS Star Destroyer out, and you can buy it for apparently like 300 US. Why would you spend that much money on a fake Lego set? I mean, you'd be far better off buying like a $300 US UCS set that's maybe not quite as big, or, you know, buying the A-Wing or like the Y-Wing, you know, paying 200 US. Like, I just couldn't imagine putting that much money into something that I know I'm not gonna get the money out of. Plus, it's a fake Lego set, right? So yeah, 20 US is probably the most I'll ever spend on any one, you know, fake Lego set. And our next question comes to us from Chris, and he asks, actually a really good question, your first one. Which series of collectible minifigures do you think is the best overall? Now, I had to think about this. Series 5 was pretty good. There's been some others like Series 10, I wanna say. The first Series 3 was also, or Series 2 actually, was actually pretty good as well. But my favorite series, I think, is probably Series 8. Like, I mean, you get a Shakespeare minifig. There's a number of other really good ones in there, as you guys are, you know, seeing the picture. I think that was probably the best series they've ever made. And I mean, you get like a little underwater Aquazone looking dude. Yeah, I mean, I think Series 8 had a number of good ones, but let me know what your guys' thoughts are on that, what your favorite series is. I just thought Series 8 really stuck out to me. The next question is what are you doing for haircuts during the lockdown? Well, as you guys can see, my hair is actually getting quite long. My hair kind of flows, like it doesn't stick out like an afro or anything, so I was actually okay doing that. But yes, I'm going to need a haircut soon. I have not got a haircut. I probably get a haircut once every 3 months, so the lockdown's been almost that long. So yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out what I'm gonna do soon. And then your last question is if I send you a picture of something, will you tell me if it looks infected or not? Now, as much as we're friends, I'm probably not wanting to see that. It's probably gonna be disgusting. You probably are gonna wanna go and talk to a doctor. That's probably your best bet. Saves me having to look at something and not being able to tell you if it's infected or not. And the doctor's gonna know more than I do. And our next question comes to us from Scott, and he asks, question for your next Q&A. What is your favorite Star Wars character and why? Great question. Now, a couple of them that were coming to mind. I love Darth Vader. I love the whole Anakin arc. I love Luke Skywalker. Also, like, when I was a little kid, that was my hero. That's who I wanted to be. But looking at it now, I gotta stick the man, the myth, the legend. Here he is, the master of trolling, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, jokes aside, I mean, yes, he's very good at trolling people. I mean, if you look at all the smart comments he makes in the Clone Wars and like in episode 2 and 3, like, he's a little bit of a, yeah, he's a smart aleck for sure. But as far as why he's my favorite character, just because he's so true. He is the pinnacle of what a Jedi should be. He lost his master. He lost his love interest in Clone Wars. Like if, you know, the Duchess of Mandalore, she died. You know, he lost his best friend, and he always stayed true to his cause. He always tried his best to do the right thing, even when life just smacked him down again and again. He gets back up and he fights for what's good. He fights for justice. He fights for, you know, Luke. He even was on Tatooine all those years just protecting Luke so that he could grow up and get rid of the evil that was in the universe. Obi-Wan is the pinnacle of a Jedi, and some people like to say that the Jedi are evil. I laugh at that because I'm just like, look at Obi-Wan. Yeah, the Jedi sometimes made bad decisions, but all in all, that's what they were striving to do. And I think Obi-Wan, even more so than Yoda or like Mace Windu or, you know, Qui-Gon, he really went above and beyond, and he was just so true to his cause, so true to doing what's right, and so true for, you know, protecting people. Like, I mean, even in that scene in episode 3, I'm probably going too long on this, but he says, Anakin, he's like, you know, he's saying he stands for democracy, for the Republic. Anyways, he's all about fighting for those that can't fight for themselves, and that's what I absolutely love about him. Great question, I loved it. And our next question comes to us from the Dark Lord himself, being Darth Vader, and he asks, which Lego set did you have the most fun building? Well, obviously, boys and girls, it's gonna be like the man, the myth, the legend again, the First Order AT-ST Walker. That by far, that set was just so amazing. Such amazing minifigs, the build just spectacular. I love the fact that they didn't put the head on it. I'm kidding. It's not obviously that. Probably the Death Star 2 from 2004. That was a great set. Really did like it. And then if I'm just saying fun, like play sets that I kind of made, probably the Temple of Anubis from the Adventure theme. I had so much nostalgia for that set. I had a friend that owned it, and then when I finally owned it myself and built it, I loved it. It was like a mix of nostalgia and just a really fun build. Anyways, really good question as well. I thought that was good, and it's never been asked. Yeah, great question. And our next question comes to us from Tanner, and he asks, have you seen the Lego Creator pirate ship, and what are your thoughts? Personally, I'm surprised that a pirate ship was actually made in the Creator line. So, yeah, I was actually surprised about this as well. My thoughts on it, I thought it's decent looking. The one thing I really didn't like about it is it doesn't give you cloth sails. They're literally made out of brick. And I was just like, okay, why are they doing that? But I still think it's an all in all not bad looking ship. It looks relatively sizable. I guess my big question is gonna be is how much is it? Because if it starts getting close to 100 US, I'm gonna say save the extra 100 and buy Pirates of Barracuda Bay. Amazing set. But if it's like 60 US, I can see buying it. Like, you know, why not? It makes 3 other builds. I don't think it's too bad. I just think if you have the extra money, buy Pirates of Barracuda Bay. I think it's much better, and I was very surprised that they brought it out in the Creator line. I was also surprised that they brought it out on the same time, basically, as the Pirates of Barracuda Bay set. That kind of threw me through a loop. Anyways, I hope that answers that. I'm not against it, I'm just surprised, and if you have the money, pay the extra money and get the Pirates of Barracuda Bay. But if you're just looking to spend 60 US, which I think is what it's gonna retail for, buy it. It's not a bad set. I just really wish that there was actual sales on it. And our last question comes to us from Karma Link, and he asks, if you could change one thing about the modern Lego sets, what would it be? I would bring back raised base plates. Thought this was an awesome question, and I do agree with raised base plates. I mean, they are amazing. But we just looked at the Temple of Anubis, you know, Pirates of Barracuda Bay. What I think Lego needs to steer back into, and I think they're kind of doing it, especially with the Pirates of Barracuda Bay set, is bringing us more creativity. Bring back the original Lego themes that made Lego great. Bring back like space, bring back Wild West, bring back castle, bring back pirates. Like, give us back our old themes and kind of bring back the old way of building it. Improve it, yes, with your new improved pieces, but don't make it look so kind of like gimmicky or whatnot. I don't know how quite to say it, but basically go back to your roots. Now, I like the new themes. I love Star Wars, obviously, as if you guys watch this channel for any length of time, you know that. But just steer away from that a little bit. Still keep making those different themes, but go back to your roots. I mean, you've kept City going all these years, but I'd really appreciate it if you always had a castle theme going, a pirates theme going. Bring back a Wild West theme every 5 to 10 years. Just, that's basically what I'd change about Lego, is go back to your roots and be a little bit more creative. Because sometimes they just rely on movie franchises, and I'm not that I'm against that, but if that's all you got, yeah, bring back what made you great, right? Anyways, let me know what your guys' thoughts are on that. I'd be interested to know. Great question as well. I had to think about that one a bit. And again, raised base plates are the bomb. But anyways, that's all I got for you today. But if you like this video, leave it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, definitely consider subscribing and click that bell so you're notified for any future Ties Talks, Q&As that we do on this channel. And again, if you have a question, leave it in the comments and I'll get to it next week, or not next week, but next episode. We do them probably every 3 weeks is when Ties Talks comes out. But yeah, anyways, that's all I got for you again. But thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.